As a physician, I see this pattern constantly in my patients, colleagues, and for a stretch of 6 months in myself also. I couldn't get out of bed before 11 a.m. This is a common complaint. Not because of laziness, because the circadian rhythm was fully dysregulated and they were running on chronic low grade hypothalamic pituitary axis dysfunction, that is the neurological control, without clocking it in a real time. My days had no structure and my autonomic nervous system was oscillating between sympathetic overdrive and total shutdown. Today I am walking you through the exact self-care protocol I use to help regulate that. Not a bubble bath and a face mask version of self-care that circulates online, but a physiological evidence-based approach I actually explain to a patient what influences the autonomic nervous system and stress neurochemistry day to day and why. If you ever felt like self care advice is either too vague or too grounded in real physiology, stick around. This is the version explained through mechanisms, not vibes. Here's the reframe I give my patients, and it took me a while to actually apply it to myself. Self care isn't indulge, it is allostatic regulation, that is, the ongoing maintenance of your body's stress response system so they don't stay chronically activated, like maintaining homeostasis in any biological system. The goal isn't a peak sensation, it is preventing dysregulation from compounding over time. So let's break this into four parts mapped thoroughly onto your circadian and autonomic cycle. Morning anchor, the circadian rhythm, the midday reset, and the evening wind down, parasympathetic activation. Lastly, the weekly check-in, the pattern recognition and load management. So now coming to session, now I'll go through these four parts detailedly. The important one is the morning anchor, the circadian entrainment. The single biggest change I made was this. I stopped picking up my phone for first 30 minutes after waking up. This everyone knew, but it is most difficult to follow it. Here I'm going to explain the mechanism. The moment you check your phone, you're introducing an unpredictable stream of stimuli that can trigger a cortisol spike, that is your stress hormone. Your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis or HPA axis, which is your neural regulation, activates before you have said any say in it. You wake up in a reactive, sympathetically dominant state instead of regulated one. Instead, my mornings look like this. Rehydration first. A full glass of water before anything else. Mild overnight dehydration can mimic somatic anxiety symptoms like elevated heart rate, lightheadedness, poor concentration, closely enough that people often misattribute the cause. So, rehydrate yourself first. Light exposure. I get outside or near the window for at least 2 minutes. Direct sunlight exposure suppresses the melatonin production and helps maintain your suprachiasmatic nucleus. I know these are the medical terms that your brain, your brain's master circadian clock. This one is the one which downstream and regulates the cortisol release, alertness, and mood relevant neurotransmitter activity. So a little light exposure is after you're waking up will suppresses the melatonin production, that is main thing. And one written sentence of perceptive focus. I'm not asking you to write a full journal entry, just one sentence answering, like, what's one thing I'm looking forward for today? Sometimes the answer will be coffee, that's fine. This isn't about positivity for your own sake. It's a lower effort way to engage your brain's approach motivation system rather than defaulting to threat detection. So you have to engage your brain for something like approach motivation system. Okay. Now coming to the second part, which is the midday reset and interoceptive check-in. This is the part almost nobody talks about because it is not content worthy. but it might be the most clinically relevant one. Around the middle of the day, I do a 2-minute retroceptive scan. Retroception is your brain's ability to perceive internal bodily states, and reduced interoceptive awareness is associated with poorer emotional regulation in a lot of affective science literature. I set a phone alarm labeled check in and prompted deliberately. When it goes off, I ran through three domains: so, somatic tension, subjective energy, and basic physiological inputs. This you have to know. At the afternoon, you just sit in a sofa and you just relax your body and focus on your shoulder, jaw, or chest. Is I'm breathing shallow or like I'm breathing deeply. That it's about somatic body tension. Then subjective energy, you rate your energy level from 1 to 10, so it is a rough proxy for your autonomic arousal. And third one is physiological inputs. Have I eaten it? Have I moved a little bit? This you have to know. Did you give enough movement to your body? uh, Blood glucose fluctuations and prolonged sedentary posture both affect your mood and cognitive function. So sitting for a long time in a chair will also affect your mood. That's it. It's not a journaling, no deep reflection, just a system check. It takes only 2 minutes, and it analogs to monitoring your vitals means your important like heart rate, breathe, that is related to your heart and respiration, your lung, before they come clinically significant. Why this works? The most emotional dysregulation isn't triggered by one big event. It is a cumulative effect of small physiological stresses. If you're keeping this one point in the entire video, I'm very glad. So one emotional dysregulation is not triggered by one big event. It is a cumulative effect that you know. Example like hypoglycemia, you haven't eaten yet, and muscular tension, you have no regular hydration, that is you are dehydrated, and prolonged immobility is also a reason. That stuck up subclinically until they cross a threshold and present as irritability or depressed effect. This check-in is essentially an early symptom detection. Catching this load while it's still correctable will something simple like a short walk or a snack rather than something requiring long recovery period.